What's up YouTube, PokePrimer here, ready to deliver you some free agency transactions here in the Totally Average League. I did tell y'all that we were going to be having 3 new free agency transactions after our Week 5 match. And here they are. We brought all 3 Mons that we were getting rid of in our last matchup there against the Syracuse Slowbros. And those Mons included Ferrothorn, Mienshao, and Armaldo. So without further ado, let's get into this. First Mon I wanted to drop was Ferrothorn. The only reason I drafted Ferrothorn initially, because I really don't like Ferrothorn as a Pokemon. I just don't. I don't think it's all that great. I think it's very subpar when it comes to bulky grass types. I think it's subpar when it comes to bulky steel types because of that 4x weakness, the very unfortunate 4x weakness. And yes, in the rain, that 4x weakness is mitigated, but we don't have the rain anymore, which immediately makes Ferrothorn a much less valuable Mon and a much harder bring in a lot of instances for me. As the weeks go on and on, it just becomes harder for me to justify putting it on the team over something else. So we're going to drop this, and we'll figure out our steel and grass types replacements. Afterwards, we'll take a look back and we'll figure out our grass type replacements when we drop our other 2 Mons. But for now, I'm looking ahead at what I could possibly grab to start netting us some W's, because we just don't have those. So the one thing I saw that had recently just been dropped, we had a new coach come in and replace one of our other coaches who left. And they dropped this monster who just so happens to tie very nicely along with our Tapu Koko. And that monster is a nice Tier 2 replacement for Ferrothorn in Hawlucha, Penta El Zero Mierdo. Penta El Zero Mierdo. The nice, one of my favorite luchadors in Lucha Underground / pro wrestling in general. Just an amazing competitor in and out of the ring. He's just a great guy. Seems like a great guy. Really, really great overall. But we have Hawlucha. Hawlucha is great because it has Unburden, which doubles its already ridiculous 118 speed stat. Can also potentially use Mold Breaker, which is interesting, but I'm probably never going to use that. I'm probably going to use Unburden 99.99% of the time. Especially with the Electric Seed and Tapu Koko, because that will give me a +1 in my defense, while also giving me the Unburden boost to my speed, and that is extremely nice to be able to help me set up a Swords Dance and potentially just sweep up a team. Which is awesome, because this thing can literally just sweep any team. There's very, very few things that can just outright wall Hawlucha. So if I can whittle down the things that can shut Hawlucha down, if I whittle them down enough, I can easily just clean up a game with Hawlucha later on. No issues whatsoever, and just win. I just win with Hawlucha, and that's just it. Because Hawlucha just wins games. I've seen Koko Lucha just go absolutely out of control. And the best part about having Koko Lucha is I don't have to always bring Koko Lucha. But they have to prep for Koko Lucha. If they don't prep hard enough for Koko Lucha, they lose to it immediately. You auto-lose to Koko Lucha. So that is why I wanted to pick this up, because it forces my opponents to prep specifically for that. And it takes a decent amount of prep to beat that. I've beaten it before. I've been beaten by it before. It's a rough thing to face in Draft League. Very, very rough. So I picked this up. Obviously, we now have 2 flying types on the team with this and Staraptor, but I'm not really too worried about that. I guess it could be a lot worse. Like, I'm not upset that we have 2 flying types. Like, that's... If that's a typing I have to double up on, that's a typing I have to double up on. We are actually doubling up on 3 different typings after these transactions, which is, again, not too big of a deal. Doubling up on typings, because they do fill different roles, so not too worried about it. Just, you know, something to note. But, now that we have our fighting type, obviously, we're gonna be getting rid of Mian Xiao. Now, Mian Xiao was cool. It had Regenerator and all that type of shit. But it's, you know, Hawlucha does its job a little better because it's faster. It sets up easier on things. It can hit harder in the long run. And I think just overall that Hawlucha is just a much better Pokemon for our team. Mian Xiao just doesn't fit my playstyle. I have to play very specifically or build very specifically with it to make it useful in certain matches. And it limits it a lot. While with Hawlucha, I don't really have to limit it as much. So Mian Xiao is now no longer a part of our squad. But now I'm going to swap it out for another Tier 3 Mon that's just, you know, conveniently sitting there that happens to be a grass type. It is a secondary ghost. It is a ghost type as well. But I think this Mon will just overall provide us some decent... with a decent addition to our team. And that is Oliver Queen, the Decidueye. Now, Decidueye is very, very interesting because it's fairly bulky. 78 HP, 75 defense, 100 SPDF. So overall, like, solidly bulky all around. Can be bulky on either side, which is really, really nice. It has access to priority in Sucker Punch. It has its signature move, Spirit Shackle, which is good for trapping things, which is also cool. And another cool thing about it is it's a defogger. So one of the big issues with my team before is the only form of reliable hazard removal I had that wasn't just straight up hyper offensive, well, it wasn't typically offensive, was Armaldo. And at least now this way I can have offensive defoggers, but also a defensive defogger as well. Because realistically, like, defog, the only downside to having defog is defiant users it's defiant users / competitive users. That's literally the only downside to defog. Plus, it gets rid of your own hazards, but at the same time, like, you can play it correctly so that you don't lose out too much on that. Like, it's not as easy to keep your hazards up. It's harder to keep your hazards up, but if you play well enough, you can definitely do it. It's not like it's too hard. Regardless, I think that there's a very good chance that Decidueye can put in a lot of work on our team. Its move pool's decent enough, and I can definitely do a lot with this Mon. Plus, I think it fits the bulky grass type role a little better than Ferrothorn did. I think it can do a much better job of doing what Ferrothorn just could not do, and that is be awesome. So the next drop we're going to make, though, is going to be Armaldo. And Armaldo is not a bad Pokemon. I do like Armaldo, but at this point, I'm realizing that I don't really... I just don't feel the need to have a Rapid Spinner on this team. I don't know why. I drafted Armaldo specifically as a spinner to have... just to have one, and one that can also abuse the rain a little bit more. That didn't have a duplicate typing on my team at the time, because I had debated going Kabutops, but again, it was a duplicate typing. So I went with Armaldo, and I wouldn't say it went badly. It's just it doesn't fit my team anymore. Doesn't fit well with everything else. It doesn't synergize nicely, in my opinion. I don't know, I'm just not the biggest fan of using Armaldo. I used to really love having Armaldo on my teams, but now it's just kind of like, just kind of there, you know? Just kind of there. So I valued getting a new steel type on my team over having a rapid spinner. I think that having a bulky steel type on my squad is just much more effective for me. So I can sponge hits from fairy types that really fuck me up, so I can have something that can just cover a lot of my team's weaknesses. And so I'm able to find that in Bronzedong, the Bronzong. We have Bronzedong here in this league as well as we do in the NPBF, which is totally cool. And Bronzedong is pretty lit. We have Levitate or Heat Proof as great abilities. Both really, really good abilities, by the way. Fantastic abilities. Very, very helpful in the long run, I think, because Levitate gives us a ground immunity, which is really, really good for our team, because before, one of our biggest issues was our entire Fairy Dragon Seal Core was grounded, so that, like, a strong Earthquaker could just literally tear through it. That's not a good thing. And at least now both our grass type and our steel type, so at least one component of each core can handle earthquakes, which is really good because that's a huge, huge problem. I know this past week we had the Landorus clicking fucking earthquake on every goddamn mon, and I had nothing to do against a strong, powerful earthquaker just spamming against my team. Now I have something that can stop that, both in Decidueye and Bronzong, which is cool. It gets access to Trick Room, so it's another Trick Room setter. So I actually have this to set Trick Room. Reunitless can set Trick Room, which is really, really cool. I'm actually really happy that I have 2 good Trick Room setters on the team instead of just one now, so that I can potentially take advantage of that Trick Room at some point. Trick Room could be a fun strat for me to toy with Bronzong, as well as having Gyro Ball to hit things, because I'm very, very slow, hit things really, really hard. Being another Stealth Rocker for my team, so it's literally we're losing a Stealth Rocker to gain a Stealth Rocker. We're also losing a Hazard Remover to get a Hazard Remover. Losing a Fighting type to get a new Fighting type. We're also getting a powerful Flying type. And a brand new speed, and like a nice mid speed tier between 100 and Tapu Koko, which is nice to have. And we also get some decent bulk. Yes, we're getting a secondary Psychic type, but we have 2 Dark types already. So we have 2 Dark types and Hawlucha, so we have knockoff switch-ins for days. So it's not like we have too much to worry about when it comes to Dark types. So I think we'll be fine in the long run for this. Same thing with Ghost types. We have plenty of things to deal with Ghost types on this team, so I'm not really worried about any problems with these swaps. I think we'll be fine. But let me know what you guys think of the new additions to our team, and if you think that they will help at all. And if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'm PokePrimer, and I'm signing off. Peace.